Welcome to Desire Dilemma, a podcast that amplifies immigrant voices in America. I'm Funmi Apantaku-Onayemi, your host. Today, we have a special guest. She's my adopted mom. She came into my life at a very challenging period and helped me cope with a life-threatening pregnancy. She's the grandma figure in my children's life since my mother died while they were still very young. She has been a great addition to our family. Our podcast advisor will help us dissect some of the words of wisdom from our guest about how immigrants can adapt to the norms of America for their own psychological wellness. With me is Dr. Risa Jones, our podcast advisor. Our guest is Mrs. Violet Spence. We call her Mama Spence. Hello, Dr. Jones.
Hello. I know it's going to be a treat today.
Hello, Mama. Hello, Mama Spence.
Hello, my dear. How are you?
I'm doing very well. I'm just so grateful that you are sharing your story with us today. You know, we cannot begin to tell our story, right? I mean, we have so much to say in terms of how you came into my life and just how you've taken me in and you've held me on and you've been very strong when I was weak. And I'm taking this opportunity to thank you for all of that. And I'm hoping that I can hold on so I don't become emotional as we do this. So tell us about Jamaica, your childhood.
Oh, it's a beautiful place, nice warm weather. The population is mixed. Everybody is mixed together, each nationality, wherever you are from. We all grew up on the same block. We were poor, but not starving. But I've always been a person looking for better, not just for me, but for my family. And a woman came to me one day and said she was from Guatemala, and she wanted to give me a vacation here for a week, and it was Chicago. And so I thought about it. I had 4 days to make up my mind. It was a Thursday. I had to leave Tuesday evening at 2:00. And it was a hard decision, but friends, and I had to borrow. I didn't have a lot of money, but family and friends lent me the money, and I went to Chicago. It was in July, so it was summer like Jamaica. But when I was there for a while, I met another woman by the name of Viola Turner, and she wasn't rich, but she was very generous with what she had. And she told me, when she asked me how much money I make in Jamaica per week, I said $20. She said, you can make that here if you work with the richer people on the north side of Chicago. You can make that in a day. So why don't you stay? I said, no, it was a hard decision again, but I would do it all over again because it worked out. I had a lot of struggles for 6 years. I couldn't make it. And then I applied for I had a visitor's visa, applied for they call it a green card. It's not really a green card. They call it's written down here. I'm not remembering a lot of things. Alien registration card.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And that took me 11 months. I couldn't leave the country, so I stayed here. I would go to the north side. This woman told me from Guatemala. She said, you can go there and work with other people who have children. Take care of them, clean up, and they will pay you and you wouldn't get deported. So that's what I did for 11 months. So the lady that I worked with, name was Shawl, she said I said to her one day, I only have a month and I have to go back home. She said, well, what can she do? I said, I don't know. So she started inquiring how she could get me to stay in Chicago. And she did, and she sent me in to get an extension, which I got 4 months. 4 months later, got to a year. And in that time, she got a lawyer and got my papers straightened out. I went back home to Jamaica and came back. But I struggled, like I said before, for 6 years, but I wouldn't give up because everybody in my family was depending on me. And it was a different kind of life, but I had to adjust. And that's what most people who come to this country think, you have to adjust. There's a phrase in Jamaica, if you go to Rome, do like the Romans. Well, you don't spend too much. You have to save, learn to economize, learn to adjust, and learn to get along with people. And those people didn't have a lot of money, but they were so kind to me. Not money-wise, they put me up. I slept in the children's room. And on Tuesday morning, I go to the north side and stay with those people. That's how I survived. Then after 11 months, I went home and got I got called to go home and get the visa. You have to go out of the country, which I did, and stayed in Jamaica. Went to the embassy with my information, and I got the visa. I didn't get it right away. I got some paperwork. When I was coming back, I stopped at Miami. They took that paperwork and told me that in 6 weeks, I would get this identification card, which they call a green card. And that I did, and that was about 19, I came in 1965, first on that vacation. That was 70 years, I should write it down, about 1970 now. Then I could come out and work. I would have stayed with those people longer, but I paid for my visa in Jamaica, and they charged me $750. I had a visa now, so I went to another woman I met on the train, told me I was to go to this candy factory and I could make better money. It wasn't much better. That I got $40 more. I got $80 a week there. And that was way like 65 miles away every morning. And back in the evening, I got a ride with somebody, but I still held on. And then I joined an organization, Jamaica American Association, and there was a president there, and he was everybody with a Jamaican or American, and I was telling him my story. I say I can apply for my children, but I would have to have money in the bank. I didn't have more than about $150 in the bank, and people have been kind to me. He loaned me the money. He said, meet me at the bank on Saturday, I'll give you the money, and when you get the visa, meet me at the bank and pay me. And that I did. And that was, no, my luck was, our blessings was coming into, but I've been blessed all along. That's what I think. Because people did a lot for me, both Americans, and nobody was rich. Everybody was struggling.
In 1965, that must have been a very difficult time racially in America. The racial discrimination, especially in Chicago area.
I couldn't get a pair of shoes to buy at Madison and State. That was a shopping center, then they call it downtown. I couldn't buy anything in that store at Weebles.
Oh my, why?
Yes.
They won't let you in?
No, you sit there and nobody attends to you. You just sit there for an hour and nobody say anything to you. I tell the person, you had this show on display. I took one foot, I said, can I get this in size 7.5? And nobody talk and talk. Somebody white came in, they sold them and they go back talking. It was all young white men. So even in the 70s, there was prejudice there in Chicago.
I remember the same experience going to Tiffany's. I was on Michigan Avenue in Chicago. You know, that's where the rich people live, right? Oh. And I kept strolling around and I went into Tiffany's and no one said anything to me. Not even hello. They kept looking at me. Maybe they thought I was there to steal something. But I just came into the country. I didn't know anything. They didn't say anything to me. From the beginning to the end, I had to get out of there on my own without anyone saying hello, welcome, what would you like us to show you? Nothing. No. So that was cold, wasn't it? Very cold.
But at first, when I went home that first time it happened to me, I said to the girl, I don't know what happened. And the people, she says prejudice because I'm not used to it. I didn't even hear about the stories in Jamaica. I hear about slavery, but I didn't know it was still going on.
So how did your first job, how did that serve you?
Oh, you're still a prejudice. You're a foreigner. Go back to your country. You're taking our money. The same black people. No, this is not white people. This is black people like me.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Everybody had a stool to sit at a machine. And I didn't have a stool for 1 month. I stand up all day. Oh my. Because another girl took the stool and put a tray in it.
Oh my gosh.
And the timekeeper from the office was white. She was Polish. She said to me, "Vi, you can't make them walk on you like this. You have to stand up to them. Otherwise, they'll run you away." And she had known the story that I came there to help my children and family. And that is when, for a while, a few of them, the older ones were kind of nice, but some of the other ones. And then we work after a while, we work on an incentive where if you are fast with your hands and you can coordinate, you can make good money. And I got to that point. Oh, and then it was all over again. Everybody was mad again. They were making money, but they didn't want me to make. And I'm talking all black. So it was everywhere.
Oh my, so would you say that actually changed your life, making that much money and being able to help the family?
Yes, it changed my life, but a little, because I could rent a room now, pay for a room. In those days, one room was $80 per month. But when I went to get asked that lady, because another Jamaican lived there, she said, "How much a week you make?" And I was saying, why she asked me this question? I said, $80. She said, yes, because the life here is whatever you pay for rent a month, you must make it a day.
Oh.
Yes, and it works. I live by that principle today.
Whatever you make a day.
It must pay your rent for the week.
Oh.
Otherwise, you can live, but you're stressed.
Okay.
You'll be stressed because you can't pay your rent. Another Jamaican told me, every week, you put down a little money. And at the end of the month, when you have to pay your rent, you have that extra money so you won't be broke. And, you know, all these little, I would always listen and ask people, "Oh, do you do it?" And I'm a talk. I talk to people on the train, on the bus, at the bus stop. I talk to people everywhere. And then I got a lot of information from people because I just wanted to know, how can you make it? Because to me, this was a beautiful place. The streets were gold while I live in Jamaica. Because the people would come out all dressed up who were living here, born in Jamaica. And I said, "Oh, a lot of money is there." And I needed to help my family and educate my two daughters.
So I want to ask you maybe I will call it, I don't know whether it's sensitive to you, but do you mind telling our audience about how old you are?
Oh, I'm 95 years old.
Oh,
I was born June 27, 1928. I came here when I was 27 years old.
And you're still looking good. The last time I saw you, you were showing me how to exercise. Oh my gosh. So in all those years, you've had your family here and all, what would you say is your one American experience that has been very positive to you?
Oh, I learned along the way from different sources that you have to be positive. And you have to learn to pray to God, because there is a God. And I'm a prayer. I make up my own prayers.
Just, could you give us the secret of your longevity?
I don't drink, I don't smoke. I couldn't afford to drink. I wanted to say, if you drink, you forget. But I couldn't afford the money to buy the drink. So I don't drink, I don't smoke. And I love people. And I try to help anybody in any way. That's been my life story. And that's how I met you, Funmi.
Yes. I was just about to say that it was with such generosity of your heart that you met me, and we stayed family up till today. You know, this son that you came to help me with, it's about almost going to 30 now, and so we're grateful for that. And as you know, he calls you Apens.
Because he couldn't talk. He couldn't talk
at the time. Yeah. And did I tell you that every time we were close to your house, about a mile, even more, as little as it was not even a year old, and he would start jumping up in the car seat, just screaming your name, knowing that we're about to get to your house. Just incredible what you've done.
Because I was retired when I met you, and I'm glad I was retired, because I could spend my whole time with you and the boys.
What brought you to that point, though? Because being an immigrant yourself, I mean, how did you see me at the time to say to yourself, you know, this is a woman I really would like to help?
Because I was in that position when somebody helped me. And the people that helped me didn't have money, and they didn't charge me anything until today. And I had to do, and I still do today for anybody. And sometimes when I make promises, my daughter said to me, "You need help yourself." Well, you help somebody. I'm looking to ride for somebody. I said, "Joan, can you take so?" She said, "Mama, you have a car? You have a ride?" But I'm still trying to help. It's in me.
Yes, it is in you. But when we talk about being in America, what we have to do to survive, what do you think of that? Apart from being positive, what must we do as immigrants?
Oh, you can make it if you try, but be positive. And don't try to come here and be the best dressed chicken in town. You just have to be satisfied and be humble. That's the big word, humble. You have to be humble. And you can't fight people. You have to try to get along with them, even when they don't like you. Because we are always branded in immigrants, and I've been here a long time.
And you now have grandchildren and great-grandchildren.
Great-grandchildren. My great-granddaughter is 15 years old.
She's that old already?
She's already.
Oh my gosh. So tell me, what would you tell her, or what are your hopes for all of them being in America today, knowing that America is changing, definitely?
It is changing, and it scares me. Because it's the whole world, if you watch the news, and it makes you kind of wonder what next. And I am alarmed about that too, because I don't know. But I still feel if I had my life to live over again, I would come here at an earlier age.
Well, I will imagine, though, that most people would look at you and hear your story and know where you are today, that you've accomplished plenty. Not only do you own your own home, you also rent, have property to rent to other people. And then you help people who are new in the country, as you've helped me.
Anybody struggling, even Americans I help.
I know, and that was how you got that bird behind you. That we can still hear.
Yes, I don't know the lady. It's still making noise. Huh? I cover him up, but he's still making noise.
No, it's okay. This is your home. You've been back to Jamaica. What would you say about Jamaica of today?
Everywhere is Americanized because of television. And they are not like country people anymore. Everybody wants what's in style. If you take a gift for somebody, they'll tell you, well, they're not wearing this again, and they're not wearing that, thing. The critics, once ago, they'd be so happy. I was so happy for somebody to give me something from the United States. Now they criticize you because some of them coming up here to buy perfume to Florida. So they don't have a lot, but they don't live within their means. That's what it is. But some are doing well. Some people are doing very well.
Do you have any regrets about being in America at all?
No. I would, if I had a piece of land down there, I have that regret. My children didn't want to put no money into helping me build it up. And so I just left it, and I don't know what I did. I didn't go back because nobody was interested. The children weren't interested. And so I just left it because I'm old. But I have that one regret. My grandfather was buried on that piece of land. I should have kept it.
But you know what? I think this leads us to the nuggets. Mama Spence, I want you to help us with a few things. In your own words, give us your words of wisdom in terms of work. What would you say to us about work?
Well, I don't know if this is what you're looking for. When I go to work, I don't need anybody to watch me. Just show me, because I'm going to do my work. But I don't like work, but I know the money I spend comes from work. So they didn't have a check from me one day. They lost it. And I said to them, I don't like to work hard. I said, but every time the clock alarm, I remember the money. And they just laughed. I said, yes. I said, nobody likes work. But I was a hard worker, still am. And with women, I think women should be independent. You get a profession or a skill or whatever you get, but in as much as your husband can have, I feel I need to do some things for myself or my family.
What would you tell us about relationships, Mama Spence?
Oh, I was in my 60s when I went to a meeting one day, and this person said to me, marriage is very difficult, and it don't work sometimes because people don't meet each other halfway. They say, when you get married, you come from a different background than your husband. But and this is what he quoted. He said, the man's mother may put the ketchup in the refrigerator. The girl's mother put it in the cabinet. But you must learn between the two of you where you want to put it. And don't lose your relationship with your husband because of old customs. Things are not important. People are important.
What would you say then about raising children in America?
Oh, I couldn't raise them here because there is no respect. But my daughter raised two here and raised them just like they were born in Jamaica. You cannot be a child's buddy. You have to have, you teach them different things and they have to listen to you. You cannot have a child cursing you and you cursing the child. Don't curse the child. And the child not supposed to curse you, period. But don't curse the child either. And be a human being to children. Because when I met Yinka, he wouldn't go to nobody but Funmi and her husband. But Cameron helped me with Yinka because I brought Cameron one day. But your children, I raised my children like I was raised. It don't say they're going to be like you. But if I'm taking care of them to live with me, you have to obey my rules. That's how I feel.
So were you able to put in them the culture of Jamaica?
Yes, because we still eat like Jamaicans sometimes. Sometimes you too fool me when I come there.
Of
when
course,
I cook
all
that
the time.
chicken, that's Jamaica. That's Jamaica.
And I'm still very Nigerian in the way I eat,
Yes, you have a little bit of it, yeah.
Yes. You
have a taste for it sometimes.
Tell us about finances again.
You cannot try to be like the person next door. You know where that person money coming from. You don't have that kind of money. And so you have to satisfy with what you have. You don't spend it all. You get what you want, what you need. You want everything, but you need something. You need food. You need a place to put your head. You need sanitary convenience. These are needs. But when you just want a Gucci bag, that's not a need, that's a want. I didn't learn this all together. It took me all these years. I'm still learning. But that money is very important. You have to learn to manage your money.
You've talked about your faith quite a bit.
The church is a house, is a place. But in your heart, number one, I go by this motto: treat people like the way you would want them to treat you. And be sympathetic with people and just treat people like human beings. In as much you're a different culture, a different color. Because when I came here, nobody told me that it was a black and white problem till I got snubbed in the street. And then I just say, well, I will still forget and still say, good morning, how are you? And still talk to white people. And some will walk by, very rare though, because they will answer, But I don't really, I just try to take care of me and be the nicest person I can be.
So we have Dr. Jones. Dr. Jones, you've been listening to all of this. What's your take on Mrs. Spence's life and American story?
To aspire to, right? Thank you so much for sharing Mrs. Spence with the rest of us. Going to get to meet you in this way. And I just, as Dr. Apantaku-Onayemi mentioned, you offer so many words of wisdom, of hope and inspiration from you suggesting, look at your saving, budgeting when you come and ask people how to do the how-tos, and connect with organizations that have a similar background, like you did with the Jamaican American Association, like understanding that kindness doesn't cost money, and those examples of people reaching out to you, whether it was lodging or loans, you did the same. And so it's possible to create those informal networks, people to move along, and that you reached out to talk to people and said, how did you make it? And you incorporated that into your own life. And obviously your positive spirit and your prayer and your faith not only have propelled you, but have also been an inspiration to so many other people. And I think even your sentiment about people not wanting to have the connection to Jamaica, and some of this ideas around being too Americanized, can be a lesson for those coming to say, like, you might still want to have some connection with your homeland, the importance it brings.
I want to thank you so much again. And it's so good to see you on camera, even though we talk on the phone.
Yeah.
And I know we'll have many more years to continue to share your story. But I'm so glad you were able to share with us this morning. Mm-hmm. So, Dr. Jones, thank you for coming.
Thank you for the treat.
Thank you, Dr. Jones, because each person should tell their story. God is turn a guide for other people coming up. It helps. It might do harm, but it helps. I try. I think I did the best I could. I could have done better, but no, I am not going to be presumptuous.
Yes, your story definitely provides beacons of hope and words of wisdom that we can all take from. So thank you.
You are welcome, Dr. Jones.
To our audience, thank you all for listening to our podcast on immigrants' desires to come to America and their dilemmas in staying in America. We hope that this information has been helpful and informative. Join us again next Friday as we bring you our next episode of Desire Dilemma, a podcast that amplifies immigrant voices in America. Please like, share, and subscribe to our podcast on YouTube. Feel free to contact us on desire.dilemma@gmail.com. Thank you and have a wonderful rest of your day.